Kia ora everyone. For all of those who live outside of NZ and Australia, which is most of you given this channel's analytics, you were lucky enough to have the Dungeons & Dragons figures released already, whereas we had to wait all the way until October. Finally the figures are out, and we decided to go and test some of these scanners since LEGO decided that blind boxes will be the future. There were loads of boxes here available for us, and it was still the early hours of the store opening. As you can see though, some already had been purchased. More on this little conspiracy later. The scanner that we used was from the figure finder on Falcon Bricks' site. There is a link down below in the description. This is a scanner that is directly from the site, so it's very easy to use, as you can see from the video down below. It worked much better on a Samsung phone though than it did on my iPhone. I don't know, it's worth mentioning, I think. Maybe I was just doing something wrong. Overall, I believe we were there for about 30 minutes scanning through these boxes. We had a decent amount within the first couple of minutes, maybe the first 10 figures scanned, mind you, and then it just became a game of hunting down these last two right here. Unfortunately, this was not a mission success for 100% completion. We had to call it at 11 out of 12 figures found after pillaging all of the boxes. Looking back now, I actually wish we kept a little tally chart for anyone else coming to inspect once we left. There were no Dragonborn Paladin figures found in any of these boxes, and we went through a ton of them. Very disappointing in the end. Fast forward now to exactly 1 day later, I find this on the NZ second-hand seller site Trade Me, which is our best equivalent of eBay. Some guy in my city, no less, was selling 100 of these for $1,000 or $15 individually before shipping. Respectfully,
I hate him. Okay, right.
Maybe someone in the comments here can fill me in on why this guy out of all of them seems to be the most sought after figure. It's crazy too, because I really just want him to finish the collection, and now after seeing how sought after he is, I'm only going to end up cherishing him a lot more once I get my hands on him. We come home with 11 of the things in total. I don't love the blind boxes, but now that there's potentially a way to find the exact one that you're always going to be looking for, I can almost appreciate the box art here just exclusively on a design level. We've got most of the figure roster here on the front, and in a very cool stylish black box, which feels very fitting for an October release, even though these released earlier worldwide. And now we go to the library actions. We had the scanner,
which was on Falcon Bricks website. Thank you, Falcon Bricks.
and double checking to see if that one actually works when we go to scan one of the figures.
Just gotta get it so it focuses on it. And this should be Strahd von Zarovich.
This one here reckons it's going to be this guy.
I'm bad at opening these ones.
You just gotta grab that tight corner. You gotta grab that corner and just... Yeah, crushed it. Ooh!
And it looks like this first one was correct.
The first figure that we grabbed here was Strahd von Zarovich. Excellent time to mention that I do not know anything about Dungeons & Dragons. What I do love though are medieval fantasy based characters in LEGO, and this series here really helps to flesh out a fantasy world of whatever I like. Apologies to any D&D fans, this here is going to be my unbiased way of saying that I'm strictly looking at these figures for what they are then. This guy appears to be vampiric of sorts. Also with a name like that, it doesn't feel like it's a general release character, feels like a solid lead villain. One of the coolest inclusions here with these figures comes in the form of a display stand, which is themed once more, this time featuring some cobblestone detailing for D&D. He looks phenomenal, and I am reminded every time when I open these CMF releases just how good LEGO can make these lines. The details and the quality assurance here is so extreme with these figures. There's printing here on his torso as well as on the back. We've got dual molding legs and even printing on the arms. He includes the newer sword piece that's been seen in some modern fantasy era sets, and he has a wine glass for drinking blood, as well as a rat with evil eyes. Double-sided expression here shows us some teeth, in case you suspected that I was profiling when I said that this guy was a Dracula impersonator. We open with a very strong figure, and incredibly, it only goes up from here. Second dude now. Tasha the Witch Queen. Inside, looks like it might be Tasha the Witch Queen. Tasha the Witch Queen here was one of the harder figures to find, and once we found one, we ended up finding quite a few of them. I thought she was a really cool Dungeon Master self-insert type character, but apparently no, she is a main villain that is currently undergoing some rebranding or something. Her minifigure design here looks very kid-friendly from what I was seeing on Google Images. I don't know how Tasha the Witch Queen stands feel about that one though. Her most notable inclusion here I think is that witch hat with long hair. That piece was introduced I believe in the Hocus Pocus set, a set that I do not have in my collection, so it's very cool to have this piece then. She also includes a cauldron with a pink flame and a spell book with a printed tile of her spell. Looks like she's casting Joker at people, and this leads to her double-sided expression, the Joker smile that's been affecting her. Removal of that hat shows the back printing there. A nice filler type figure for me, a cool style, but not one of the bigger hits here. Next up, number 3. This here is the Aarakocra Ranger. This is Jonathan. Actually really cool from a customizer point of view here. I see these wings and I know exactly which X-Men member I want to use them for. He uses the really cool tactical bow piece that was introduced with the Marvel CMF series from last year. I don't love that being here personally though. It's fine, the piece is cool, it's just it doesn't fit that fantasy world for me. He has a small dog inclusion, and he's not the only figure here to come with a pet-like creature inclusion. Underneath the wings we do have some details on the back of the torso here, which is crazy because you can't see these prints unless you remove those wings. It's amazing to see how far LEGO will go, and I love it because that torso looks like an excellent base model for your own custom fantasy character. Next up. I've been waiting for this one.
There was a lot of this one.
There we go. Looks like it'll be him too. Szass Tam is great, recognizable as a big villain, but not quite to the scale of the biggest ones. I love the fact that we got some red wizards here in general as well, because I do love the robe design and his accessories look amazing too. A fireball and a red translucent skeleton head. Really great looking red robes and the red cape. Scary face printing as well, feels right at home for that skeletal look. A quick look at the printing underneath here. Personally, a standout minifigure. Number 5. Gith Warlock. I spelled Gith Warlock. The Gith Warlock here is the first figure that we're looking at to have an alternate appearance option. The Warlock here features the yellow skin tone of the original characters in LEGO Worlds, staff accessory with an eyeball at the end, and a really cool dagger which I think is new, and you get 2 of them with this figure as well. This guy feels like one of the more basic figures that we would find in the regular CMF series. That's not a bad thing, I'm just realizing that maybe I think I feel that way because of the yellow skin tone. I do appreciate the details here, like the dual molding as per usual, but the real highlight comes from the variations that you can have with the alternate head included. With a couple of the figures in this theme, you're able to customize a few of the humanoid characters' gender with male or female variants. Really fantastic inclusion here for roleplay elements, and what I love most is that the heads don't feel like general gender swaps, but they feel like new characters entirely. Similar or different expressions mixed in with some newer details. Our male here who features some facial hair inclusions. And so far so good. Number 6. Oh, Halfling Druid. This guy's exciting. The Halfling Druid is awesome. The totally not a hobbit-like character here has all of these earthy tones about him. I love the general greens and the color scheme that's used here. I like those antlers included on the hood piece, looks incredible and something very fitting for the hobbit. The cape is also a double-sided one with brown and green, always exceptional when we're given a figure with a cape like this, a little bird accessory and some staff-like inclusion. The double-sided expression of a simpler look here, and removing the cape inclusion shows us the back printing, where we can see some key details that are continuing on. The female head inclusion appears a bit more stern and cheeky for the other side with a winking expression. Halfling Druid is an amazing figure. Tiefling Sorcerer, we've done loads of her as well. Yeah, that's her.
Accurate.
The Tiefling Sorcerer is another really cool standout figure. The design and details are tremendous to see here. Looks to be a mix of human and devil. Very cool hairpiece with some horns spiraling out there and a tail inclusion as well. Accessories like other figures here are wicked. A small dragon that looks like a baby version of the one that you get in the official LEGO Ideas release. And then these magic missiles, which... come on, you tell me which X-Men character I'm definitely going to be using that piece for. Very cool expression as well with a simple resting face and an angered determined look. The swap here makes the character male and the expressions are very cheerful happy and a stern determined look. A really good inclusion once again. Elf Bard. A beautiful take here on the Elf Bard who looks just stunning. This is a figure that excels in the colors and details design. The bright blue and white pair so well, and we have fancy accessories with a new scarf piece in a magenta tone and a lute. It feels like a very similar figure to a Bard figure we got not too long ago in some previous CMF lines, but still, Dandelion lookalike characters are always exciting to see in sets for me. Double-sided expression here of a singing voice, which makes sense, and I love the inclusion overall. As for the head swaps, we do have a female head with very similar expressions, but a couple of added details where she has some really cool lip gloss. The overall figure has a great sense of flair.
Dwarf Barbarian.
The Dwarf Barbarian feels okay. Really, it's not the fault of the figure, more on LEGO for overusing the elves and dwarves designs very regularly in the LEGO CMF series. The Dwarf Barbarian here features some very nice Gimli-like color scheming with very cool accessories like a torch, that's okay, and a really cool battle axe that must be new here. I don't believe I've seen this piece before. The face prints are really cool as well. Our female head features battle scars while the male hair showcases some facial hair. They both use the same hairpiece, which helps to add to that classic fantasy convention on how you can only tell male and female dwarves apart by their beards. A nice filler based figure, but again, it's because there's a great wave of other fantastic dwarf-like figures just like this one. Two more, missing Mind Flayer and Aztec looking one. There's the Aztec one. Lady of Pain is one of my top favorite figures here. The figure looks insane to me and fits in with that Aztec-like style. Again, Aztecian-based figures we've seen before in CMF series, but this one does still feel quite special to me. She levitates by standing on a clear brick, which is a design idea I don't think I've seen released in a CMF before. I always love ethereal-like figures in LEGO, stuff that reminds me of angels or divine creatures of that like. Sand green mask here is a rubber-like material with a plain head underneath there. The cape is excellent. I feel like it might be similar to the one used for Calendar Man or something. It's not too often that we see this kind of a design at the very least. She also includes these little box things. You get enough to make 2 of them, and they look perfect for me to pretend like they're Lament configuration boxes. She is a standout figure for me easily. Mind Flayer, 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 Mind Flayer. There he is.
100% accuracy rate.
Mind Flayer here is another partly recognizable character, and I'm sure one that all of the Stranger Things fans are going to have a little bit of an interest in. This Cthulhu-like creature here is stellar for the horror fan in me. Love that octopus head on him, which is entirely plastic and it looks incredible. It includes simple robes like the Red Wizard, but with very cool printing that makes it feel like a Cenobite. Really, the most appealing part of him is that headpiece and the brain accessory. The Intellect Devourer looks perfect for a Resident Evil-like display of a very tiny licker enemy type. The brain here can be placed onto minifigures' heads because it functions like a minifigure hat inclusion. Awesome figure overall.
When we went in store to scan these, I was a bit concerned because there's this error message saying some D&D boxes in the EU may have wrong codes printed due to a production error. I'm not sure how the production works, but I thought maybe the Australia and New Zealand ones could be through that EU production, but looks like we've had a 100% success rate.
The little sheet for the figures here looks like this. Everyone is here except for the Dragonborn Paladin figure, so hopefully I get my hands on him in the future. The back here shows us how to assemble all of these figures, and that's my quick look at the LEGO Dungeons & Dragons minifigure series that released in 2024. It's exceptional. It's always amazing when the worst thing you can say about a minifigure slot here is that at the very least it's decent. There are no bad figures here, all worth looking into for collectors, even if you're not familiar with the property like I am, but you do love the genre and world of fantasy. The question is, how well do these guys pair with the actual set that released earlier in the year? And the answer is incredibly well. The set now looks to be incredibly populated and densely packed in with all sorts of character representation here. The colors and the accessories and the exclusive molds here are all incredible. As far as LEGO Fantasy goes, I think this might be one of the best things they've ever produced. I'm incredibly happy with this overall. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Liking this video and subscribing here does help to support more future videos like this one. Thank you for watching everybody, ka kite anō. I do hope to see you all next time.